It's Friday, July 5. This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. Minister of Finance and Public Service Dr. Nigel Clark says the country is experiencing an unprecedented level of economic activity with 17 consecutive quarters of growth and unemployment now at the lowest rate in the nation's history. Dr. Clark was delivering the main address at the fundraising dinner of the East Central St. James Education Fund recently. He noted that the lowering of the central bank policy interest rate, which is now less than 1%, has helped spur economic activity by making borrowing more attractive. Dr. Clark said that more houses are being built in Jamaica, with the National Housing Trust, NHT, taking lead in that regard. Meanwhile, Dr. Clark said the policies of the current administration have opened up the fiscal space to increase investment in development projects. He said that capital expenditure has increased from $30 billion to $72 billion for the period 2015 to 2019, and this leads to the improvement in the delivery of service. He noted the allocations of $1 billion to the Ministry of National Security for procurement of 1,000 police vehicles, the sum of $3 billion to the Ministry of Health and Wellness in infrastructural work at the Cornwall Regional Hospital. Domestic flights are set to resume on Monday, July 8, with the introduction of daily service by local aviation company Jam Airlink Express. Flights will be scheduled for out of the Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay, where Jam Airlink is based, Negril, Ian Fleming International Airport in Boscobel, St. Mary, and the Tinson Pen Aerodrome in Kingston between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Chief Executive Officer of the company, John Levy, made the announcement during the launch at the Ian Fleming Airport on Wednesday. Transport and Mining Minister Robert Montague, who has portfolio responsibility for the aviation industry, headed the officials and other guests in attendance. Reintroduction of the service is as a result of negotiations between the ministry and Jam Airlink. Micro, small and medium-sized manufacturers will soon be able to benefit from a new loan facility offered by the National Export-Import Exim Bank of Jamaica at an interest rate of 4.75%. State Minister in the Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries Ministry, Floyd Green, made the announcement at a private sector organization of Jamaica Access to Finance Facilitation panel discussion at the Terra Nova Hotel in St. Andrew yesterday. Minister Green said the interest rate represents the best ever offered to the sector and sends a message that lowering interest rates can be done. Meanwhile, as the government pushes to make it easier to register a business, Green indicated that persons will be able to do so online by the end of July without having to go to the company's Office of Jamaica, COJ. An agency of the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, the COJ is an executive agency responsible for the registration of businesses. CARICOM partners remained adamant yesterday that Jamaica should make further payments to the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility, CCRIF, after they were told ahead of one of the caucuses at the 40th Heads of Government Conference in St. Lucia that the country could not afford to do so because of its tight fiscal space. Regional leaders were presented with an update on payments, where it was disclosed that Jamaica had paid up its full US $20 million. The impasse came about when Jamaica was being pressed into making further commitments for future payments. This was flatly rejected by the Jamaican delegation, who posited that the country was unable to commit to any further CCRIF payments at this time. Paying to the fund has been a contentious issue for legislators in Jamaica, who have been arguing that the country has never benefited from the fund since it was established in 2007. They have questioned the rationale behind Jamaica continuing to pay millions in insurance premiums under a regional fund where the country does not qualify for payments despite damage due to heavy rainfall and hurricane. Minister with responsibility for education, Carl Samuda, says the government will be twinning some high schools soon as part of its program to improve the general performance of students to support a more inclusive educational system.
The strategy now is to be inclusive and to try to make those who are more advanced even influence those who are lesser developed, so that we are going to be impacting on those through a collaborative approach, mixing the children together and creating a sense of confidence.
He was responding to questions from the opposition spokesman on the subject, Ronald Thwaites, in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. He said that he has had discussions on the project with Thwaites as well as a number of school principals and that the response has been positive.
I had a discussion with the principal of Arden, and we're going to twin member from Southwest. We're going to twin Haile Selassie with Arden, so that the children from Haile Selassie will be exposed to the atmosphere of Arden, and vice versa. So they will impact. And that's how we're going to move the entire society forward.
The education minister said that the ministry intends to recruit some 150 coaches in crucial subjects, including mathematics, English, and science, to reduce the gap between students from low-performing schools and those from the high-performing institutions.
The remediation is on the basis of additionally trained teachers. We are seeking to expand the number of teaching staff and to those teachers that would have been specially trained in remediation so that they can assist the children to the maximum.
Samuda also confirmed that more than 50% of high school students are currently on the program of advancement through health and education path. He said that he has approached the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance about increased funding to meet the challenges of preparing the economically challenged students for grade 7 and onward, in terms of providing better trained teachers as well as ensuring access to a proper diet for which an improved school feeding program will be necessary. He said that the new primary exit profile, PEP, entrance requirements for high schools is critical to educational process because it will assess students' performance in primary educational institutions. This will enable the schools to detect learning issues that can be tackled prior to grade 6 with the assistance of the coaches. He said that the greatest challenge was in the areas of mathematics, English, and science, but that his ministry will seek to expand the employment of teachers with the levels of discipline and particular skills in giving the students the special attention they need. The Edna Manley College of Visual and Performing Arts had to explain on Wednesday how the institution spent $4 million on supper and taxi fare in one financial year, giving an average of $364,000 to each of the 11 staffers working in the finance department at the time. Representatives of the college were questioned at the sitting of the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, the PAAC of Parliament. Committee member Leslie Campbell asked Principal Nicolene DeGrassi Johnson to explain how the institution spent nearly $4 million on supper for the financial year 2017-2018 and to explain why its audited financial reports for 3 years were incomplete.
For the last financial year, 17-18, you spent close to $4 million on the numbers seem to suggest that it is for supper.
Supper and taxi.
Supper and taxi.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, how many staff members were of the 12 on the establishment?
Can't answer that off the top of my head, sir.
Is there an explanation for you are running a continuous deficit?
As it relates to the deficit over the past 5 years, a large part of that is as it relates to the repairs and maintenance of the infrastructure of the college. The infrastructure is old. We are not funded for capital through the ministry, and so we fund repairs, we finance repairs and maintenance from our from fees. Of course, this would not have been supported in the budget that we received.
Mrs. Degrassi Johnson said that there was an issue finding competent accounting staff and personnel to fill 12 positions in the finance department. President of the National Parent Teachers Association, NPAJ, Dr. Lennon Richards, is calling on parents to enforce the dress code that schools have established for students. Delivering the keynote address at the St. Catherine-based Kidston Town Primary School's annual school leaving exercise this week, he also cautioned against skin bleaching, emphasizing its attendant health and identity issues. He called on fathers to stay close to their schools that the children attend, and for all parents to do regular checks of their children's school books and to be very mindful of the friends that children keep. In other news, the National Democratic Movement, NDM, is expressing deep sadness at the passing of founding General Secretary and co-conceptualizer BRASCOE Lee. Lee died Wednesday morning after a brief illness. NDM President Peter Townsend, in a statement yesterday, said Lee strongly believed that the political system was too self-serving and operated almost exclusively in the interest of the Jamaica Labour Party and the People's National Party and their ruling class instead of the people of Jamaica. The US dollar on Thursday, July 4, ended trading at Jamaican $132.97, up by 32 cents. According to the Bank of Jamaica's daily foreign exchange trading summary, the Canadian dollar ended trading at Jamaican $102.47, up from $102.45, while the British pound sterling ended trading at Jamaican $166.63, up from Jamaican $166.47. Jamaican food is as diverse as its people, with dishes from all the ethnic groups living on the island. The restaurants reflect those varied palates as well. Stay with us and see where our taste buds led us recently on PBCJ's Culinary Trails. If you're looking for a place to have brunch, lunch, or even an early dinner, Fromage Brasserie is the place to be. Hi.
Welcome to Fromage. Hello. Table for 3?
Yes.
I'll be with you.
Lovely.
I just love this area. And I heard about the dishes that they have with cheese.
Yes. And the pastas are the bomb.
Really? Really?
I'm excited. Very excited.
Soup and ham and cheese panini. Is that how it's pronounced? Panini?
Panini, right? Yes.
And bourbon chicken. Wait, bourbon chicken, that means it has in rum?
Hello, ladies.
Hi.
Is everyone okay?
Yes.
Food looks good. Thank you very much. All right, ladies, are we ready to order?
Yes, we are.
Excellent.
Well, Ali and Anna wants to have the jambalaya pasta, and I would like a spicy coconut ital chicken pasta.
That looks beautiful.
This is yummy.
This looks
Thank
good.
you.
Ladies, please do enjoy your meals.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Is it good?
Hi, ladies. How's everything?
Hi. okay. Everything is fine. Everything's fine.
It's really good.
You enjoyed your meal?
Good.
Yes. What's your name?
My name is Arnaldo. I'm the Junior Marketing and Communications Coordinator for Fromage.
Nice to meet you, Arnaldo. Have a seat. Have a seat. I have some questions.
Oh, I can stay with you.
Yes.
We offer a variety of dishes, ranging from seafood to steaks, pastas, burgers, right? You can have anyone at any time. So now you're having the lunch, but you could have had a steak for lunch. It just depends on your mood. You could pair that with a wine, whatever the case may be. So some things that we have, like the ribeye steak, we have the shrimp coconut curry that's a top seller here, right? We also have the curry and barbecue ribs. So stuff like that you could get on a regular basis when you come here.
Tell us something about like on the chef's specials.
All right,
You
so
know that each restaurant they tend to have the chef specials, or so is there a favorite of the chef or?
all right, so on our chef special, it's the curry and barbecue ribs, as I mentioned earlier. That's one
Ooh,
thing.
curry and
It's like a
barbecue.
popular thing here.
Yes,
Yes.
that's the most popular dish.
It is.
Most popular dish. So we have that. We have the drunken pork chops. We also have
Wait,
the
the
chicken.
back up. When you said drunken pork chops,
Yeah, man.
marinated in alcohol.
Yes.
Wow, I've never had that before.
Yes. While the name is French, it's a French themed restaurant, and we offer a European Jamaican fusion of food. So not every dish
Everything.
has
It's a
cheese,
lot though, a lot of
but
cheese.
a lot of items on the menu does include cheese.
All right. So in terms of location, though, and we're here in Marketplace.
Yes.
Right. But I hear that there's another location. Where is that?
All right, there's another location in Hillcrest. It's located 8 Hillcrest Avenue, that's Kingston 6.
Right, off Oak Road.
Yes, off Oak Road. That's called Fromage Bistro. So a more intimate setting, smaller.
Ooh.
Yeah, as bistro in itself is a more small.
So it's like a candlelight kind of thing.
Not
kind of
necessarily
vibe.
candlelight, but
more
something.
intimate,
Yeah,
more
yeah,
intimate, right.
something along those lines. It's less formal. So
Okay. Does it have the
it's
same
more-
menu or is it?
No, it's a totally different menu. We're open for brunch on Saturdays and Sundays
Right.
from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. Imagine scrambled egg and an omelette in one with the shrimp,
No, sir.
all the peppers, the seasoning, everything. is
Listen,
in there. Cheese.
We're
as we
foodies,
all
you know.
Yes.
Oh Lord.
We're foodies, but we've not
Yes.
done much stuff. We're still exploring. And
Yes.
It seems like it has a menu
Yes.
that is definitely European,
Yes.
definitely outside of the regular Jamaican breakfast.
Yeah.
So that's somewhere where we should probably think of coming
Yeah.
on the weekends.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
we're
the
going to
brunches
have to
are
try the
long.
brunch.
It's actually from breakfast
Yeah, man.
to dinner.
Yes.
Brunch
Brunch.
actually covers.
So you can bring your
Yeah,
bring your
come with
entire
your
family.
Come with your son, your daughter, grandma, grandpa,
And y'all come with your
great-grand.
mama.
During the
Everything.
week, how long are you open? What's your opening hours during the week?
During the week, it is from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. That's from Monday until Thursday. Friday, Saturday, it is from 11 a.m. until 11 p.m.
Okay.
All right.
Marketplace is it's very
Central.
It's central. Lunchtime is crowded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Very
Evenings
yeah.
are crowded.
Yeah.
All the birthdays and everything.
Yes.
Yes.
You guys can go in the courtyard. You guys order from.
Yes, you can.
So we can
dine
order
in
from the courtyard.
Yeah, exactly.
You
That's
dine
it,
from
so.
Anywhere?
in Marketplace from the courtyard.
Really?
Bestseller,
Yes.
yeah.
That's so cool. Well, I'm really enjoying it here, and your customer service is
It's
really good.
Thank you.
Really
Thank
good.
Really good.
Kadeem, big up yourself, Kadeem. Big up
Like when you
yourself.
ask about something, it's elaborated, it's explained. You
Yeah.
just see what's on the menu.
Yeah.
You can tell us. So that's really
So that's
cool.
good. That's
Kadeem
good.
is a very good server here.
Yes.
Big up, Kadeem.
All right. Thanks so very much for coming over to speak with us.
No problem. All right,
Alright.
so do enjoy the rest of your
Thank
meal.
you.
Yes,
Thank you.
we'll do. All right. In regional news, CARICOM leaders met with representatives of the regional private and labor sector on Thursday. This was the first day of deliberations at the 40th CARICOM Heads of Government Summit. The Caribbean single market and economy took center stage in the discussions. CMC's Peter Richards reports from Castries.
The meeting is as a result of an initiative that is being pushed by the Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley to get more of the region's stakeholders involved in the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, the CSME. The CSME allows for the free movement of goods, skills, services and labor across the region, and there has been concern about the implementation deficit regarding the various measures. Gordon Charles, the Chief Executive Officer of the St. Lucia-based J.Q. Charles Group of Companies, was among the private sector delegation that met with the regional leaders.
Our role today was to put forth to the CARICOM conference a structure upon which the private sector will engage with the CARICOM heads. This is all part of the initiative of CSME, which is being headed by Prime Minister Mottley out of Barbados, and she had challenged the private sector across the region to get together and to form some sort of body that will allow us to engage and to help them advance CSME.
CARICOM Secretary General Erwin Larocque described the deliberations as positive.
I think it went very well. Private sector and labor was there. The CCL was represented. And there was a discussion of them organizing a regional private sector organization, which will be probably constituted in the coming months, very shortly. And once that is constituted, the conference will be willing to consider making them an associated institution of the community, to allow for greater collaboration and participation in the CSME. So we had a very good discussion.
The president of the Barbados-based Caribbean Development Bank, Dr. Warren Smith, says the CDB regards the private sector as having a major role to play in moving forward the ambitions of the CSME.
I think that the presentation by the private sector group was a good development. We're very pleased about it because we certainly share the view that the development and the growth of this region is going to depend in the final analysis on the ability of the private sector to grow and to perform in not only competitively in the region but also internationally.
The summit ends on Friday, with the leaders expected to announce progress on some of the agenda items.
If all goes well, a new head of the Guyana Electoral Commission, GECOM, should be in place in a few. This is the hope after a meeting between David Granger and opposition leader Brat Jagdeo on Thursday. Last month, the Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ, ruled the process to elect former GECOM chairman, retired Justice James Patterson, was flawed and unconstitutional. Director General in the Office of the Presidency, Joseph Harmon, said the aim is to get a new GECOM boss in place as soon as possible.
The President indicated that he would like this process to be completed within days. So what that means is that the two sides will have to be engaged in what the CCJ call hammering out the names of persons to arrive at a list of 6, which the leader of the opposition will present to His Excellency, and from which he will choose one person to be named the chairman of the Elections Commission. We've agreed that the leader of the opposition will submit in very short manner a list of names of persons that will be for the consideration of the President. This exchange of names, or this submission of names, will also include any suggestions which the President has for inclusion on that list. And once the two sides sit and agree on the list of 6, then that is the process as we move forward. That list of 6 will then go to the President for him to choose.
Over in Cuba, the Order of Jose Marti, the highest decoration awarded by the Cuban state, was granted to the President of Angola, João Lourenço. He was on an official visit to Cuba, which began on Monday. Richard Richards tells us more.
The first secretary of the Central Communist Party of Cuba, Raúl Castro Ruz, former president of the island, imposed the Order José Martí, Cuba's highest condecoration, to the President of the Republic of Angola, João Manuel Gonçalves Lourenço. In turn, the Angolan head of state awarded Raúl Castro and Miguel Díaz-Canel, President of Cuba, with the Order Agostinho Neto, the utmost distinction granted by the African country. This order was also granted to the Minister of Cuba's Armed Forces, General Leopoldo Sintra Frias, to the Deputy Minister General Ramón Espinosa Martín, and post-mortem to General Raúl Díaz Argüelles for the independence of Angola. During his third day in Cuba, President João Manuel Gonçalves paid a visit to the Latin American School of Medicine in the western part of Havana, where he received full information about this medical institution and especially around the performance of the students from his country. The African leader also had a tour through the Mariel Special Development Zone, where he saw the improvements in investments in that priority area, especially designed for trade and business. Until now, 46 foreign enterprises of 20 countries have settled down in this spot, and 20 of them are already in full service. The President of Angola was invited to participate with investments in this location so as to become the number 21 partner in investing in this special development zone in Cuba. Direct from Cuba, Richards, Canal Caribe.
In sports, West Indies beat Afghanistan by 23 runs in the final group match for both sides at the Cricket World Cup on Thursday. Shai Hope top scored for the West Indies at Headingley with 77, while Nicholas Puran and captain Jason Holder stepped up the pace as they reached 311 for 6 in their 50 overs. Afghanistan mustered 288 all-out in reply to fall to their 9th defeat out of the 9, despite a fighting 86 from Ikram Akil. Neither side can qualify for the next week's World Cup semi-finals. And that's it for the news on PBCJ. Thanks so much for watching.